I would describe it as, Western nations who are really powerful coming into Africa and less developed countries, and basically finding a way to dictate how they manage their world and influence how their world is built. And if I had to think about it, I think two of the most important key terms when it comes to cultural imperialism are definitely power and diplomacy. I think that those factor heavily into how that whole system is built. So I'm going to be talking about a few pros and cons of cultural imperialism. So a lot of Western nations have a strong impact on third world countries in terms of media, and through that they impose their views and consciously and also unconsciously affect the natural state and culture within these third world countries. And these people start to lose their culture because they become more susceptible and to this image that the Western nations are selling to them. So the theory of cultural imperialism states that the Western nations dominate the third world nations, and in return it has a powerful sort of effect because they are imposing their views onto these nations, and through that they are therefore destroying their native culture. Some of the shortcomings I think that have to do with cultural imperialism are obviously the exploitation of these third world countries by undermining them and selling this huge idea of what the world should be like. They lose a sense of who they are, but at the same time, you sell them, you take from their culture, and you sort of create something, and then you resell that image to them as something branded and different, and they buy that for something that it's not worth. I think another important point to mention is the fact that the theory, it fails to define what culture really is, and this in fact sort of helps to reiterate and question the legitimacy of the theory itself. So I think that in the end it just makes it seem as though it's a futile concept.
Cultural imperialism is a concept that has contributed more strongly than any other concept in shaping and influencing the field of international communications. What is cultural imperialism? Cultural imperialism is often used to refer to the idea of American exerting cultural influence over the rest of the world in a particular powerful position of the third world countries. It's basically like any other country or government exerting its power over a weaker country. Africa is seen as one of the continent that is a victim of the imperialist for over 1,000 years, and the term cultural imperialism was first invented by Herbert Schiller in 1976 in his book called Communication and Cultural Domination. The pros would be we're being introduced to different cultures. We here in Africa, we learn the Western culture, and the Western will learn our culture. Yeah, it's like a vice versa kind of thing. And helping in developing global defense support. The cons would be discrimination, where Western discrimination where the Western is discriminating us, discriminating our content, like everything we have built for ourselves, and causes political feud. Like there is no continent that wants to be controlled by other continent. The other theory that is more compelling would be agenda setting. Agenda setting theory, the media is not telling us what to do, rather than telling us what to think about. For example, there was a story about Zuma must fall. We had our own opinion about that, but the media gave us the story, and we had to decide whether we are against or for, like, the whole Zuma must fall thing. So they have the power to control our minds.
So cultural imperialism. In cultural imperialism states that the Western nations dominate the media around the world, which is an impact, a powerful impact on third world cultures, by imposing on them Western views and therefore by destroying their native cultures. So how does cultural imperialism come? When Western nations dominate the media, meaning when America as a powerful nation produces media in huge amounts, and so the media gets to be viewed across the world. So people start to think and act like how they see things being portrayed by the Western nations or by the Western media. So things like music and film, advertising. And advertising is such a huge impact on the third world cultures, because it imposes to Western cultures, for example, like South Africa as a developing country or a third world nation. People start to think that the products or the lifestyle that is being portrayed in advertising is how we as a third world nation should live our lives. And therefore cultural imperialism has a negative effect of destroying third world cultures, and it has a negative effect of portraying this lifestyle that people start to think it is how things are supposed to be. And cultural imperialism comes as being exploiting third world cultures, because the Western nations, through them being a powerful factor in the media, are able to have economic gain, and then whereas the third world cultures do not gain anything. So, one issue about the cultural imperialism as a theory is that the validity of the term has been called into question, and the theory has been critiqued as not being clear and being unfocused. And that brings me to a theory that I found more compelling to me, which is the agenda setting theory. So in the agenda setting theory, it is said that the media does not necessarily tell us what to do, but what to think about. So what I want to look next now is visually supported images of how cultural imperialism as a theory works.